We just got back our gas and electricity bill for this month, and it was $810. Everyone in my area has been saying that their bill has been really expensive this month. The gas and electric company that basically owns the area has been posting like through the news to expect higher bills. Our bill was $810 this month. Last month it was $206.
In Indiana, frustration is boiling over as many Trump voters say their utility bills and other cost of living expenses have surged to devastating new highs, with some reporting costs have tripled. As household budgets are pushed to the brink, families are demanding answers. Watch until the very end and listen to these powerful stories from Hoosiers confronting a growing financial emergency.
You're actually not saving a ton of money by living in Indiana. Indiana is at the top of the list for the rising cost of living in consideration of the quality of life that Indiana offers. Housing, utilities, groceries, gas, quite literally, all of the costs of living in Indiana are inflating beyond what wages in Indiana can keep up with. Indiana school boards all over the state are financially gutting public education programs in exchange for voucher programs to charter and private schools, which is then inflating the tuition costs of said charter and private schools. Micah Beckwith, who is a literal Nazi, has been harassing public schools all over the state with the specific intentions to obliterate diversity and mandate white Christian nationalism into public school curriculums.
$7 for 10 slices of cheese?
I know they lying. $13.99 for a goddamn watermelon.
You want some fruit, honey?
Yeah. Let me go sell the car.
$40.60 for a fruit tray.
This is my favorite shit. Simply orange juice. $7. That's simply too high. Put this shit on Simply layaway.
Look at these dumpsters. They're filled with dog beds. They take razor blades to them and cut them so nobody can garbage pick them.
I said the grilled beef. Why is it $30? Who can afford that?
A box of cereal costs $6. Look at this, $6 for a box of cereal. Who can afford this shit?
I really felt like grocery prices were getting out of hand about a year ago when to buy the ingredients to make spaghetti went from being $20 to $25 to being $40 to $50.
Oh my God, look at these prices. $3.99 for a little small tub of cream cheese. That's the deal. That's the lowest price. You want a watermelon? It's only $8. Check out the bacon. Okay, so the lowest price was $5.99 and it went up to $12.99 for a pound of bacon. French fries, $5.99, $3.99, $6.49. Everyone's favorite, ice cream, $6.99. Look at that, thrifty ice cream. There's nothing thrifty about $6.49. How about some Ben & Jerry's for $4.99? Remember how cheap Pringles used to be? It's just off the charts, everything. Look at this, pizza. I'm not showing you the greatest foods because meat is out of control, but frozen pizzas, they start off as low as $4.99, but they're all like $6.99, $11.99. For a frozen pizza, you get to take it home and make it yourself. $10.99.
BlackRock has officially bought our electric grid. A private-owned company now owns all of our electric grid in Indiana and Ohio in the name of mass producing AI data centers. If you are not in Indiana and don't know how hard we've been fighting data centers and our rising energy costs, our bills went up about $400 just in the last 2 months. And now that's expected to get even worse as BlackRock has just secured a $33 billion deal acquiring AES, which is the power company responsible for all of the electricity in Indiana and Ohio. BlackRock's investment as it comes to AI is privatizing energy so that they can supply and drain neighboring cities and now all of Indiana just so they can divert power grid supply to AI data centers.
Listen, Indiana is not number one in many things. Education being one of them. But look, we got number one in something. Look at that. Isn't that lovely?
Indiana thinks that it's acceptable for employers to pay their employees $7.25 an hour. Now, I'm not naive. I know that that's not what most employers pay, but they do exist. And I just wanted to point out that 1 hour worth of work at $7.25 an hour can buy me a family pack of fruit snacks, 1 pound of ground beef. It could buy me 4 children's protein shakes. It could buy me this pancake sausage on a stick situation. It could buy me a 12-pack of Pepsi. I could buy applesauce pouches. I could buy this carton of blueberries. I could buy snack packs of goldfish, this bag of frozen pasta. I could get this bag of frozen chicken nuggets or 4 Starbucks drinks. So I could work for 12 hours and be able to walk out with 12 things from the grocery store. Honestly, less, because we know that just because you earned it, $7.25, does not mean that that's what you get to bring home. There's taxes, healthcare, Social Security, all those things. So 12 hours, 12 items. Absolutely nothing of that going towards childcare, housing, transportation, or fun. So now let's think full time. And so you work 40 hours a week. That doesn't even get you a full cart of groceries. Our minimum wage hasn't risen since 2009. And our prices have substantially increased since then without wages following suit. So they are recording record profits while our wages fall behind.
You have to be kidding me, right? Yesterday at this time, gas was $4.19. Do you know how much it is right now? $4.99. And yesterday my feet hurt. So I was like, I don't want to put gas right now. I should have put gas yesterday. Because what the hell? $4.19 to $4.99.
The farmers market here in Bloomington, Indiana, where I live. And I'm going to tell you right now, I just found out that the city of Bloomington, if they find out that these farmers at the farmers market are selling their products for less than BlackRock stores like Kroger and Walmart, they get fined. The city of Bloomington literally tells them this is how much minimum you have to charge for your product, so that Walmart and Kroger, which are BlackRock companies, gets to sell their shit, their poison shit, for cheaper. I seen a pint of strawberries, which I literally counted them, 10 strawberries for $7. Who's going to buy that? Nobody. I wanted to get some collard greens because I wanted to make greens today. 8 leaves for $7. That's basically $1 a leaf for collard greens. And they know, the city of Bloomington knows, because they have contracts to do this with BlackRock companies.
What's up, America? I'm here at a grocery store in Indiana, and I'm going to check out the ridiculous meat prices. By the way, prices for meat, they haven't been coming down. It's worse than it's ever been. Let's take a look. Or nearly as bad as it's ever been. So I'm going to start with pork prices because those are still low. $5 or $10. So they're about $1 a pork chop. That's average. But then we have the stew meat. We have $13, $17 for cube steak. Stew meat is expensive. The steak is expensive as hell. Some of the highest I've seen. Same over there. Good Lord. Let's do $25.99. Yeah, good God. So look at that. $35. Yeah, that's insane. These meat prices we're looking at what? $7.50. And there's a 3 pound, so that's going to be more. So you got $12 right there. $12 for Kroger beef patties. $10 for 4 right there. Chicken is cheap, though. Not bad. You can see, except for bacon, pork is fairly cheap. But then you have steak is crushing it. $8 a pound for beef. It's killing it. And sausage, still not a bad price on sausage. So it's mainly just beef. Now, sausage is a little high. Here's all the lunch meat. You're looking at high price for beef bologna because it's better. Then you have your bacon prices, still $8, $7.5 you have it. Still pretty high. So that's your meat prices here in the Midwest. Go to a butcher. Jesus Christ.
I just got home from Kroger, and I want to say that I am appalled at how much groceries were. It is just 2 of us, and groceries will last us maybe 2 weeks because, you know, people eat every day. And I'm going to show you how much I got. It was almost $419, almost $430, and I coupon, and I saved about $43. So if I didn't coupon, thank God I do, groceries for 2 people would have been $500. And like, really, I got the essentials, and maybe some snacks. Like, I don't even know what in here is dinners and whatnot, but like, it's nuts. Okay, so yeah, I did get a fern and a pansy, but come on. I mean, like, this would have been $500 if I didn't coupon.
I don't normally commute. I don't usually care about gas prices because I work from my house, and when I do, I have to go to the airport and park and fly, and it's usually on my company's dime, right? But right here in central Indiana, we have hit $4.99 per gallon for gas, and so that means we're at California level prices, baby. Hell yeah, so much winning, we're going to be tired of winning, because fuel prices have doubled in the last 2 months right here in MAGA country. You know, a state that overwhelmingly voted for the guy, not once, not twice, but 3 times. And yeah, you're basically getting what you voted for. A guy that can't figure out how to handle Iran and fight his way out of a wet paper bag. And yeah, every one of you are paying for it, and I'm just laughing at your sorry asses.
I'm pretty sure that being woke, aware, alert, in the know of what's really going on right now and how everything just sucks. I'm in Indiana. We got the highest gas prices at $5 a gallon. Can't afford to eat. Can't afford to go outside. Doesn't even look like we can afford summer this year, being as it's 46 on May 3rd. But so many people are depressed. So many people are just lost. So many people are just tired. In the ultimate form of tired, mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, brainily. The more you know, the more it sucks. I'm cutting gas now. Well, oh my goodness.
This shit is getting insane. What do you mean that gas went from $4.19 at $7.59? It is 8:07 as I'm recording this. It is now $4.79. It went up 60 cents yesterday, $3.59. What the do you mean it's almost $5? Yeah, the wage here, $7.25. So you're telling me, like, what is the least amount allowed to be paid at 1 hour of your job, because taxes, is literally a gallon of gas. And my hours are getting cut. And I'm moving in July. I've never been more stressed in my life. We're going to do as a collective, especially since it's been confirmed that they are watering it down. So it's also, you're not getting as much bang for your buck.
As more Indiana families share their struggles, the economic pressure is becoming impossible to overlook. Skyrocketing utility costs, gas, grocery, and other expenses are forcing many to choose between essential needs and monthly bills. Stay with us until the very end as these real stories uncover the true impact of Indiana's growing affordability crisis.
Oh, so gas is $4.99. $4.99. Ah!
Indiana just outpaced the nation for the biggest single-week increase in the average price of gas. Gas Buddy is reporting the average price for a gallon of unleaded jumped 84 cents in the Hoosier state, up to $4.40 a gallon. Here in Indy, we've seen most places topping out at $4.99 a gallon, or just a few cents shy. These are some of the highest averages impacting the state in nearly 4 years. Experts attribute this surge in prices to the ongoing conflict in Iran and battle over control for the Strait of Hormuz. We caught up with several Hoosiers filling their gas tanks today. All of them said they can see and feel the price jump.
With two more gas stations 1 second down the road. And guess what? Right here is the best option.
If I time it right, then I can maybe get to the $70 mark. But if I have to fill up the whole tank the way they've been, it's been almost $100.
So I'm getting gas here in Plainfield this morning. Indiana's gas tax is tied to the price of gas. So when gas goes up, the tax automatically goes up. Where are our Republican state leaders? I think families deserve a better tax policy than that.
Indiana has experienced the highest week-to-week gas jump in the country. We are at number one. We're number one. 84 cents in a week. And it feels like it all just happened yesterday, honestly.
Gas is costing $4.83 today in Indiana.
Employers are firing their employees because they can't afford to pay their bills. Employees can't afford the gas to get to work, and even if they can't afford the groceries to feed their families. Sure as shit can't afford their medications or any form of health care. So, are we great again yet?
Seriously starting to regret getting this diesel truck.
So Indiana legislators were able to approve the increase for electricity and gas rates from NIPSCO. Genco, another business created from NIPSCO, a tax break for data centers up to 50 years. They also approved like a non-compete agreement with NIPSCO. And they also made it illegal to be homeless, living on public property. But they could not agree to raise the minimum wage from $7.25, considering the fact that the minimum wage has been $7.25 since 2009. Very interesting.
Today I want to talk to you about your utility bills in Indiana and why they aren't just shaped by economics, they are shaped by politics. And a big part of that comes down to one thing: who controls the process and who holds the power within it. So what does that look like in Indiana? Well, every bill filed has to go through a committee hearing first, and the chairs of those committees hold a lot of power. They decide what bills get heard. So even if a bill has strong public support, even if lawmakers back it, it can be stopped before there's ever a real debate. If a committee chair doesn't call the bill, that bill dies. So let me walk you through a real example. Not only do I serve as a state rep, I'm also a nurse practitioner. And a bill that I have filed the last several years, a bill that would benefit nurse practitioners and patients, a bill that has even been filed in the Senate and passed out of Senate committee twice, has never gotten a hearing in the House. Why is that? Well, because the Indiana State Medical Association, a lobbying group, opposes the bill, and the chair of the health committee in the House is a member of the ISMA, and he refuses to hear the bill. So even though the bill would lower costs and improve access to health care, it has never moved forward. That's how much power exists in the process and how easily it can be used to stop change.
When your gas and electric bill go up hundreds of dollars, the state starts asking questions. The state of Indiana is officially launching an investigation into NIPSCO's natural gas meters. All across Indiana, NIPSCO customers are complaining that their bills have doubled, almost tripled in some cases. And this is all much more than the 16% increase that NIPSCO said was coming this year. NIPSCO, for its part, is aware that people are really upset about these high bills, and they're pointing people to assistance programs, but customers say that's just not enough. A lot of people are skeptical that the state investigation will uncover anything because it's not looking at why the supply charge on these bills is so high. Rather, the investigation is focusing on potential errors with the gas meter readings. For now, protests are ongoing, and customers really hope that NIPSCO will take their concerns seriously, and at some point in the future, there could be a cap placed on these rate increases so they don't get out of control.
If you live in Indiana, you're most likely seeing your utility bills skyrocket, and it's not because you're using more power. The truth is, you're paying for data centers. Massive data centers are moving into Indiana at a rapid pace. They're getting massive tax breaks, some for 30 years. They're making sweetheart deals with the utility companies. And they're getting guaranteed power. All while working class Hoosiers are getting stuck with higher rates and unsustainable grids. Let's be honest about what this is. It's corporate welfare causing higher utility rates. These massive facilities are using an insane amount of electricity and water, and that's not lowering your rates. It's driving up demand, and the utility companies are passing that burden on to working class families.
Did you know that in Indiana, our rates are increasing faster than any other state in the country right now? It's something to really be aware of, and the reason that we are where we are is because our state legislature has allowed our utility companies unchecked rate hikes in Indiana. We are paying for every infrastructure update they need. Anytime they need to expand buildings, add on to them, it's all on the backs of us. Hoosiers are footing the bill. And it's something our legislators have allowed for years.
Indiana lawmakers keep passing morality-based bills. Meanwhile, my clients are passing on basic needs. They're choosing what to pay for this month: food, housing, healthcare, meds. Surprise! Pick one. Then we're framing this as a mental health care crisis instead of what it is: a cost of living crisis causing mental health care issues. Can't therapy your way out of living in survival mode because your needs are not being met chronically.
Minimum wage been $7.25 since I graduated high school. I repeat, minimum wage has been $7.25 since I was in high school. A stick of deodorant, the good deodorant, we ain't talking about the stuff that's gonna still have you musty 5 minutes after you put it on. A decent container dispenser bottle of deodorant, I don't know what the word is, costs more than $7.25. The minimum wage has been $7.25 for 17 years.
So over the weekend, Indiana Governor Mike Braun posted this on Twitter, basically saying the wages in Indiana are so high and the cost of living is so low, everything's hunky-dory. And not only is this claim absurd from a factual standpoint, but it's actually a slap in the face to so many working families here in Indiana who are struggling. Because when we look at the data closely, the idea that Indiana has high wages and a low standard of living, so everything's great, it simply doesn't hold up. In fact, the picture is really the opposite, because if we first start talking about wages, Indiana consistently ranks below most states when it comes to pay. As of late last year, we were in the bottom third. We were ranked 33rd in the nation when it came to wages. And even after you adjust for the cost of living, we only go up a couple places to number 29. And the problem is, even when our wages do start to rise, we're still being far outpaced by the national trends of rising wages in other states. Now, it is true that the cost of living here in Indiana is much lower than many other states around the country, but the problem is that is changing fast. Household costs are rising faster than wages, and that's eroding any benefit that we might get from those lower prices or that lower cost of living. 6 months last year, inflation added $668 in extra costs for Indiana families. Then when you talk about essentials like housing, transportation, food, childcare, healthcare especially, are all rising especially fast. In just a couple of years, the cost of necessities in Indiana has risen 8.2%, which far outpaces national inflation.
What is the latest electric bill that you can remember paying?
Our latest was $593. Last month it was $603. I have never, ever paid that kind of money.
I'm here in Evansville, Indiana, where residents have seen one of the highest rate hikes in the country.
People are going without medicine or taking their medicine every other day instead of every day. People are going to food banks because they can't afford to buy food. People are not paying other bills so that they can satisfy the center point bill and not have their electricity cut off.
Energy should be available to everyone. It should not be a luxury item, and it's become a luxury item. What I'm holding is a chart showing the amount of people who are 60 days behind in paying their bill. When the first phase of our rate increase occurred in March, you can see that giant spike, and we're all the way up to folks owing $4.9 million in arrears.
And while Hoosiers are squeezed by skyrocketing bills, Wall Street's takeover of utilities continues to spread across the Midwest.
I'm a senior citizen on a fixed income, and you have to decide between medications or buying certain foods or being able to rob one bill to pay another bill.
All night, we heard from people who said their bills were completely unaffordable, even if they were using less energy than ever.
I use more electricity on that day than any other day during the week. I was not even home.
Who quacks like a duck, acts like a duck, it's a duck. And there's something ain't right with this.
It's just one of the many ways that corporate greed is squeezing working people for everything that they're worth. And without regulators stepping in, it's only set to get worse.
CenterPoint Energy is nothing but a thief.
I call CenterPoint greed gangsters. Do more for the people instead of robbers blind like you're doing.
Indianapolis, stop building apartments and buying apartments when the economy in Indianapolis and the job market does not pay to match 3 times the rent. And before anybody say, well, people have to make a profit, people have to, get a return on their investment, you did better keep your money in your pocket. The job market, the average person in Indiana making 15, the best 17. And don't say, oh, well, they can work at Costco. Everybody can't work at Costco. And the minimum wage here is $7.25.
The rising utility bills and other expenses are doing more than straining budgets. They're changing how families across Indiana live, plan, and survive. The personal stories shared throughout this video reveal the serious financial challenges many Americans are facing as everyday costs continue to rise. Thank you for watching all the way to the end. If this video gave you something to think about, please like, comment, and share your thoughts below. Don't forget to subscribe for more real stories from everyday Americans, and click on the video on your screen now to hear more powerful experiences from communities across the country.